Hello everybody, this is Kayla here, and today I wanted to talk about period shaming because it's something that happens. And anyways, the menstrual cycle is something that most women will experience in their life. I say most because there's always exceptions to the rule. So anyways, period shaming is something I wanted to go over because it seems to be something that people feel they must hide. Now, don't get me wrong, it's not one of those topics that you go up and, normally have a conversation about, or it's not a starting conversation. It's just like, something typically done in the restroom, and therefore it's kind of just like restroom business. So I'm not saying we should all just go out and have happy, fun conversations about menstruation, but we shouldn't shame it to the point where people want to hide that, like these myths that women don't, fart or poop or stuff like that. All those myths and whatnot, like the menstrual cycle is up there with that, the things that women pretend that they don't have or they don't do when it's in fact something very natural that happens. So I'm just tired of period shaming because, I understand as a woman that the menstrual cycle is just annoying and tough, and I hate my menstrual cycle, but it's really not something that other people need to be going around saying, ew, ew, gross. Okay, my blood is not anywhere near you. It would be your choice, and it have to be with my consent if you wanted to be anywhere near there during my period, which most likely is not going to happen. So what's the big deal? Your chances are you're going to be nowhere near that area during my menstrual cycle unless I allow it and you're down for it. So what's the big deal? Why do you have to sit there and shame me and make me feel bad about something that happens naturally? Like, I really don't get it. So menstrual blood is clean, just like any other blood that comes from your body. It's not something that carries diseases and is going to make you sick or anything like that. The menstrual cycle is natural. There's nothing I can, well, there are things I can do about it, but it's healthy for me to continue having them. So I don't understand what the shame's all about. You're not going to be around there if you're uncomfortable with it, and if I'm uncomfortable with it. So why do you have to shame someone for having something that happens naturally? I don't understand. And it gets to the point where, I remember when I was younger, it was just something that I'd always have to hide. If anybody asked me, if it was around my time of the month or if I was, menstruating, I always tried to deny it and just hide it and feel really gross and dirty when I was on it because everyone made it seem like it was a gross and dirty thing to have. And when in reality, yes, I do feel awful when I'm menstruating because of some of those symptoms that come along, but other than that, there's nothing to be ashamed of. I don't have to be any more uncomfortable than I already am because other people are uncomfortable with the fact that something natural happens to me. And I feel like, now that I don't have to sit there and hide it. If someone asks me about my menstrual cycle, I'm like, yeah, I'm totally menstruating right now. And I feel like it shouldn't be shameful. Like I said, it's not like a typical topic that people bring up and want to talk about, but if it does get brought up, I don't think it has to be approached in like a shameful manner. And I remember specifically a story that just made me cry, other than already feeling ashamed about it and, scared that, oh my God, what if, some blood leaks through my pants and then, everyone's going to make fun of me. Now it's just like, okay, if that happens, that happens. Like, it's natural. But other people don't get it and they still shame people for it. I think it's absolutely terrible to make fun of somebody if that happens to them. but specifically, I remember it happened in my own house. I guess I'm gonna talk about pads just in case you wanted to know before I continue on. If you get grossed out, you can leave now. Um, anyways, the pad is, to keep the blood from going everywhere, and then has like a sticky side, and in order to put it on your underwear, you take the sticky side off, and it's typically this little tiny flappy piece of paper. It goes nowhere near the genital region at all, and I put it in the wastebasket, and um, you know, I use the pad as directed, and then I guess, when I close the door, or maybe, I don't know what happened, but the little tiny piece of paper that goes on the sticky side of the pad, I must have flown out of the wastebasket or something, because my brother goes in and is like, "Oh, that's so disgusting, like, you should hide when you're on your period, you shouldn't, have things laying around," and I go in and it's just the little sticky side of the pad. Like, I dispose of my soiled things the proper way, but it was just the little sticky, completely sanitary part of the pad, the little sticky part that you rip off. And here I was crying my eyes out because I felt so disgusting. I never felt more disgusting in my life. Like, I felt like, I really have to hide my period, like, from other people. Like, I can't even show that I'm on my period by having completely normal and sanitary paper out, just because it reminds others of your period. Oh, and so I just sat here in my room. I remember specifically it was like this corner on my door, just crying my eyes out because I just felt so awful for, being on my period. And it was an awful experience, and I really think period shaming needs to stop. Even if you do see some blood, you know what? It's not a big deal. It's completely sanitary. It's just blood. You might, not like blood, but typically, when I cut my finger or cut my hand, and, some people might get freaked out because it's blood, but for the most part, nobody's like, "Ew, you're a horrible person for cutting your hand." Nobody does that. So it shouldn't be any different for menstrual blood. Like, if you happen to see somebody, has leaked through their pants, just politely tell them, "Hey, look, you have a stain on your pants." Don't make them feel ashamed for it. It's really not that disgusting. If you do happen to see in the wastebasket some blood, you know what, it happens sometimes. It's normal, it's natural, obviously don't touch it or anything. You never know whose blood has what, but for the most part, it's sanitary. And what else, and if it's something like what happened to me where, no blood was showing at all, it's not that big of a deal. Girls get their periods typically. It's natural. It's nothing to shame them about. So yeah, I'm not saying that, you have to be 100% comfortable with it. I'm not saying that, you have to be all up in there if someone you know is on their period, even if they do let you. If you're uncomfortable with it, fine. If you don't want to be around your partner while they're on their period, fine. That's up to you guys to figure out. But it's really not okay to shame people for something very natural. So yeah, this is like an odd topic. I don't think I've ever gotten this into it. Like, that's how shamed periods are, is that I am feeling a little uncomfortable talking about this topic with you guys and sharing this information with you guys, but that needs to change. So yeah, just let me know what you guys think, what your experiences, and thank you for your time. Bye.